for this meditation practice, find a seat. Now, if sitting is uncomfortable for a little bit longer than maybe 10 minutes or so, and you do want to use a cushion to prop up the lower back or a bolster or even lean against something, then do so. Don't try and ride it out because it'll just distract you. So it's not the end of the world if you use that support. You just want to find a comfortable seat. So across the legs, you can rest the hands either in the lap or onto the knees. And just connect with the breath. So if that means taking a big few deep breaths, then use those deep breaths. Just exhale, let go of anything you don't need, any stress, any tension, anything else you've been doing this morning, this afternoon, or any thoughts you have in your mind. Try and just leave them to the side for now. Try and be here in the moment. So just notice your seat. Notice the space you've put aside for this practice. And even if that space is maybe quite small or cluttered or very temporary, kind of in the way of your home, still just be grateful for that space. If you are listening to this, it's quite likely that you're in your own home, your own flat. Even if that's a rented space, be grateful for that space that you have. And I wanted to do a meditation that was really focused on this time in particular, and rather thinking about yourself in that time. So not the pandemic, not the tragedy, not the sadness, and not because that isn't of huge overwhelming significance, but because this is such a gift, is a strange word, but it's such a funny time for you to focus on yourself, to assess your routine, your day-to-day life, your job, how you work, how you live, how you exercise. And I know we're all in this kind of race to rush back to what was normal before. But I want you to think, before you rush for that normal, make sure that everything you're rushing for is worth rushing for. And if you're under quite a big financial strain or difficulty at this time, then this exercise might not be quite as smooth sailing, but hopefully there'll still be takeaways from the exercise for you. So first of all, before we look at the now and the change, I want you to look back. I want you to look back at your day-to-day life before this pandemic hit, before the coronavirus hit. And I want you to think about, how was work going? Were things going well? Not just work in the business, but also for you. Were there any difficulties at work? Maybe relationships or things that you wanted to change in your own business or in the business that you worked for that you couldn't quite change because you were so in them. Everything was so active and there wasn't a chance to stop and change. And were you enjoying work? Was it fulfilling you? And then outside of that, how much time did you have for you? To see family? To see friends? How much time did you make to exercise? To shop for maybe good quality, locally sourced food? To make and prepare that food, to enjoy that food? How are your stress levels? Were you sleeping well? Were you sleeping full? And I want you to think about 3 things from that time. Maybe 3, negative is a strong word, but I want you to think about 3 things that were impacting your quality of life, or your job satisfaction, or your business satisfaction. And with those three things, I want you to appreciate that although this time has brought so much uncertainty and so much worry, I want you to acknowledge that you have this opportunity and this chance to change those things. And because of COVID, a lot of people are going to pause. They're going to stop what they're doing. They're going to sit back. They're going to let it sort itself out. And then they'll go straight back to where they left off. I want to see if you can take this time to not pause, but to pivot. To be someone who has taken on board what's happened, as we all have. We're all extremely impacted in one way or another. But be someone who steers things in a slightly better direction. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a hugely different direction, but just a direction that means your day-to-day quality of life is slightly better. And then we've thought about that. So we've thought about the past, we've thought about before. I want you to bring yourself into your current life, into your now life, into what today looks like. And think about what time you wake up. You're still waking up with an alarm. Is there a sense of rush and panic to that first few moments of your day? Are you still working? Are you easily working from home? Has that been a smooth transition? And are you enjoying that? Or are you looking forward to getting back to being in the office, to being with friends, with colleagues? Are you making time to exercise? Have you tried a new kind of exercise? Are you just enjoying walking more or being outside more? And was that something you always did before, or is having this opportunity to take one walk? If you are in the UK, we have obviously the opportunity to go out for one walk or one run. Are you appreciating that? Is that making you feel better? And how well rested do you feel? So are you sleeping well? Are you stressed? Are you managing to, as I said before, do a food shop, enjoy preparing food, and enjoy actually eating food? Are you sitting down to eat? And maybe you're doing that with family, if you're isolating with family, or even with a partner or with friends if you're in shared accommodation. How's that in the evenings? And then I want you to think about all those things we've just mentioned and list 3 benefits to your day-to-day life, to your quality of life, that have come from this time where we are asked to stay in our home. And when we return back to normal, whatever normal means, how will you make sure these 3 habits, these 3 benefits, stay with you? How will you integrate them into your day-to-day life? You've made space today for this mindfulness session, this meditation session. So you know you can do that. You know you can come back at any time. You can sit. You can take a few deep breaths, and then you can look at where you are now, the thoughts that are running through the mind. You can break them down. You can analyze them and take away the good and maybe get rid of the bad. You've got this space, so be grateful for the space, the shelter, the security. Remind yourself of the 3 habits or actions from before isolation and before COVID that were not necessarily serving you for the better, or maybe even blocking you from progressing, bettering yourself. And acknowledging these is the first step to change. And then with excitement and gratitude, now focus on your 3 new habits, the outcomes of your time at home in isolation, and how you feel for implementing these. So ask yourself now, how do you feel? Do you feel healthier? Have you got more energy, happier? And promise yourself that you'll take these actions and implement them into your day-to-day life after we return back to normal, after the government gives us the go-ahead to return to work. We're staying at home to help reduce the risk for others, for the vulnerable. And so just now, think about those people that you know who are working on the front line, who are maybe struggling, or those who are grieving. And just offer them your love, your support, your admiration during this very difficult time. Rest your hands onto your chest, onto your heart center. And just notice that breath. Feel very much alive, healthy, grateful, at ease, relaxed and content. And if you're part of our membership, then you know at any time you can access me via email, via text, via phone call, via our Facebook group. There are lots of people out there that you can talk to, but I am definitely one of them. So don't sit alone with thoughts at home if you have them and you want to share. Bring the hands into prayer. Bow the chin into the chest. Thank yourself for giving time for this little mindfulness practice today. Namaste.